Hello. Good morning, evening, afternoon, etc., etc. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. Back after taking a few weeks off. Hope everyone's doing well. Wait for a few people to roll in. It's obviously off our regular cadence, this, so it might be a slightly quieter stream tonight. We'll see how we get on. Indeed, long time. Harand, hello. Moose. Michael, glad you guys are here. Hello, Julian. It's just the light. My time off in Lanzarote, as the law goes. Hello. I don't really. So I think the stream on YouTube is titled Character Controller, which we must do at some point. However, I do also need to remind myself how the code works. So I've actually not built this at all since I've been gone. So the last time I ran any of this code was two and a half weeks ago. So I figured, first things first, I might just blow the build directory away, rebuild it from scratch, and then fix the bit rot that has set in, because it almost certainly doesn't work. It is not a Luke Skywalker lightsaber. It is a. So I was away for 2 weeks in Disney World in Florida, and I did build myself a custom lightsaber. So yeah, and that is why I maybe picked up a little bit of color. So, however, the problem is that now that I've got one, I'm now kind of keen to get some more. So it could be an expensive hobby. But it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Okay. Yeah, it was a good time. Oh, someone's already subscribed on Twitch. Thank you very much. I have not looked at Clang 20. I did not realize Clang 20. I'm normally pretty good at keeping up with the release schedules. I didn't realize Clang 20 released. I've not looked at any of the new sanitizers. It's something I guess I will try and find some time to look at it. Obviously, we're using MSVC here, or Wine MSVC, so we're a little bit behind. But yeah, I will try and have a look at it at some point. I'm normally more interested in their standard compliance, like, when they get access to new features and stuff, because I guess everyone's trying to charge charge ahead in finishing off 23. I know the MS-STL team aren't doing any 26 stuff till they finish 23, at least on the library side. So I don't know, I'll have a look at when I get some time. I don't know if I mean, this is obviously not Lightsaber chat, although I kind of want to build my own one, like with a Profi board and a NeoPixel. But the problem then is I'm kind of like 90% convinced myself I now need to buy a 3D printer. So I think it's going to get quite expensive quite quickly. No houses in the UK. I would say on average, no houses in the UK have air conditioning. It's not really a thing over here. We have about 3 days of summer, and we just put up with the heat. British houses are built for the winter, so this house is insulated up the wazoo, so it gets pretty warm in here in the summer. It gets quite warm in here because it's quite a small room with my PC on and stuff. The gap in the door is just shoddy workmanship from the people who built my house. AC, I'd say, is very unusual in the UK. Definitely not standard. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to install AC because I work from home a fair amount. But like I said, it's very much not standard in the UK. AC resubscribed for 4 months. Thank you very much appreciated. I'm tempted. I might try a portable one first and just run it out the window and see what happens. Yeah, well, this is it. If it gets cold, just turn on more computers. I got a home lab under the stairs. I'm just going to sit in there for a bit. It is indeed getting warmer every year, so maybe it will become the norm. But like I say, for the 3 days of sunshine, we get a year, it's not worth most people having AC. Great question. So these streams are going to be edited down, maybe a video series at some point. So my grand vision is to do that. Maybe once we get to a point where a game is released, I'd love to do like a mega video with all the technical stuff back to back, so people can kind of just dip in. It's quite a lot of effort because I've not been doing it as I'm going along, and we're up to, I think this is the 27th stream. But that might be something I could outsource, maybe, or people. I don't know. I know AC's kind of keeping track of some of the timestamps as we go along. So yeah. So I don't know what you're saying. Maybe I missed it. You are definitely keeping track of the timestamps as we go along. Yes, I know. I didn't update the stream name to auto. I thought it might be confusing for new people. Auto is the trailing return types is confusing enough for people. I thought it might be off-putting in the stream name. Okay, so this might be a slightly chattier stream anyway, this one. I think I'm in the build directory. Hang on. I'm in the build directory, so always check before you blat everything. I'll just change this to build tab. And then I want like CMake, I think. I can't really remember how to C++. How many ampersands do I want? Probably at least 2, right? Oh, I get it. Sorry, I missed that. I apologize. Thank you. That was actually quite a good joke. I was just not paying attention. Yeah, exactly. This is remember like what 2 weeks ago. What was I thinking? What does any of this mean? My PC needed updating, the graphics card drivers needed updating, OBS had disconnected from all my streaming accounts, the chat app that I use that combines both Twitch and YouTube had stopped working, so it was a mad scrabble. As always, I decided to test all this about 10 minutes before I went live. So I had a very stressful 10 minutes, and now here we are. Just do it on the night. Right, let's just see if it builds first. I suppose we've got to build async and all that other gubbins. By FS, do you mean what? Free source? Kobe full screen. Oh god, sorry, full screen. I'm so out of the sorry, full screen. Yes, it can, because I forgot to press the button because I'm a little bit out of practice. Okay, because it's full screen for me, so I just kind of assumed it was the case for everyone else. I do apologise. We'll cut that bit out. No, we won't. We'll leave it in. Okay, so we're going to build through this. Well, I think so we need to do the character controller. I remember that much because I think we could drop barrels and they had physics, and I think we could like shoot barrels with some impulses didn't work, but velocities did. Something physics, because something mass 0 question mark. It's 500 CMake jobs because async and Jolt have a lot of translation units, I guess. How do I run it? How do I run it? I think Fish will come to my aid here. Yeah, and then but I have to give it the do I give it the packed resource or do I give it a directory? I suppose I could check the code. This is okay, fine. Nailed it. Okay, here we are. So these all drop. And it's F1 to go free mode, and then is it space to shoot? Yeah, okay, there we go. So it's actually, this is pretty cool, right? Let's put this on itch.io and wait for a big streamer to play it. This seems, is this slow or am I slow? The testing's not up to date. I need to update that. Yes, just getting back into it. Just remind myself how this works, and then nope. Escape. Right, nailed it. Okay, so we've got some code. That's good. It kind of works. Not done a release build yet. What I think might be like a reasonable back into this is to finish refactoring those files. I know it's not particularly exciting, but I don't like that it's left in this kind of weird half state. You know, I moved graphics, or at least most of the graphics and physics. I think a few other bits and pieces need to move, and a bit of a refactor. It'll get us looking at some of the code. So yeah. Yeah, so we need to put TLV needs to go in a directory, events need to go in a directory, buffer and buffer writer need to go into graphics, debug UI needs to go into graphics. Now I think most other things will probably go into like core, auto release. I don't know what to do about stuff like camera. Is that graphics? You know, and like scene. So the stuff like string map, vector, all the math stuff, I'll probably stick in like a core directory. Whatever. I think we'll just start. I just want to get this kind of done, and then we'll look at the character controller, because Jolt has 2 character controller types. It has like I remember looking at this just before I left. Character controller and virtual character controller, and the former is for like AI agents, and it just works on physics, like pushing stuff around, and then the latter is more for actual user characters, because it doesn't work on, because if you imagine like you've got a capsule and you're a player, you want to just translate it. You don't want to be like nudging it forward with a force every time you press a button, because it'd be very hard to kind of make that like a cohesive, fun experience. But then it's a kinematic controller, right? So then if you do that, you have issues with collisions, you have to manually resolve them. I'm going to look at the examples that Jolt have and see if we can like munge something in. Yeah, no, I've been good. I was away at Disney World with my family for 2 weeks, which was good fun. It was not relaxing because I have 2 young kids, but it was good. Good to take a break. Now I'm just trying to remember I'm just trying to figure out as we all are, I guess, figure out my life. Let's go with TLV. This seems like a good one to get rid of a bunch of stuff, because then we can do move source TLV star to, it might not like the directory itself, but that's fine. Okay, so I think that's all the TLV stuff. So this obviously won't work, which is fine. Doesn't expect to. The CMake file will now be wrong, so in fact this should fail to configure, which is fine. So then do we create sub CMake folders? CMake files, I think we did, yeah. So let's copy source game CMake to source. And obviously TLV is the type length value. That was the serialization format that we spent way too long working on, but I think was quite fun and had some really fun bugs in it. Right, so let's do this. Here we go. Right, okay, so add the TLV, and then we'll do source TLV CMake, and then get rid of all this. And then we can do, is it just those 3? Oh, steady. The editor config isn't working for this for the CMake files. I seem to have like massive these actually tabs instead of spaces, which I don't use, but I think I'm wrong. But that's an argument for another day. It's definitely inconsistent with everything else. But what are you going to do? Life's too short to worry about tabs and spaces sometimes. Well, I think tabs might be the right answer, right? Because if you are, by having a single character, which you can control the width of, you kind of get the best of both worlds, because you just say, I want my tabs to be rendered as n spaces, rather than being forced to have x spaces by whoever wrote it. I think tabs is right. I just four space characters has kind of been entrenched in my mind since my first job. I don't. That is the only. So assuming there is no different. Assuming there is no difference in that, it's just personal opinion. That is the only positive I've ever seen for tabs, but I've never seen any actual concrete positive for spaces. Like if you are visually impaired and you need different different layouts and stuff, it's very easy just to configure your editor to render that tab at different widths. You can have 3 spaces. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe that is the only, like I said, that is the only actual positive attribute I've ever heard for tabs, whereas spaces I've just heard is better because that's what some people say. But anyway, I use 4 spaces. What are you gonna do? What I'm gonna do is try and remember how to use Vim. And I want something like, so hang on, whoa, let's take a step back. I now need to replace all the hash includes. How do I get comfortable with assembly and reverse engineering? I don't know if I'd say it was like, I mean, comfortable is a strange description, because I can understand what you mean, like being kind of well versed in it. I wouldn't say I'm comfortable, because I'm definitely not an expert in it, and I'm always learning new stuff, and I find it making the technical content for all of these videos is quite stressful, and like it's a fun challenge, but it is very, very difficult challenge. It's just practice. It's like anything. I've worked across I've worked as I would say first and foremost, I'm probably a forward engineer rather than a reverse engineer by trade, and I've worked across a variety of industries, but some of those have required me to they've always been quite low level in C++, and some of them I've had to do a fair amount of reverse engineering as part of various like aspects of the roles I've done. So I kind of got a feel for it there. I guess, kind of works both ways. They're two sides of the same coin, right? Yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's just practice and time, I guess. So I'm going to want to do something like, I want to search for so all these TLV writers are going to be wrong, because they now have to be, scoped to TLV/. So I think I do Control Q, and then do cdo, and then do s/. No, I don't want slash. I made this mistake before. I want to use any other character. So like TLV writer.h to TLV/TLV writer.h g. Right. So this. Oh, by the way, is the font size all right on this? Because I always forget what font size I stream on, so I assume you can read this reasonably coherently, now that it is indeed FS. I want to substitute TLV writer.h with TLV/TLV writer.h. Looks reasonably cromulent to me. I did not mean to quit out of NeoVim there. That was don't really know what I was doing there. So now I've got entry and reader, so those are the other two. So let's do SG, and then do TLV reader.h, Q, and then sudo $TLV reader.h $TLV / TLV reader.h g. Sure. Command WA, that's what I wanted. And then what was the last one? TLV entry, right? So G TLV entry .h Control Q sudo s $. If you find this boring, then I don't know what to tell you, but for the next hour and a half. That's not a thing. Oh, what have I? Where'd I go? Oh, I've got what is this command? Stuck another cheeky / in there. There we go. Right. Let's see if that blends. Have I ever moved languages, frameworks, industries? Yes, I've moved industries once or twice, I guess, depending on how you cut it. I started off learning PHP, not professionally, but before I went to university. That was the first language I ever learned was PHP, and then I went to university and learned whatever you learn, you know, I experienced at university, C and a bit of C++, and then my first job was C++, and then I've kind of done that across several industries. But I've also dabbled in Python, C#. I do a bit of TypeScript and React at the moment. I'm always interested in, like, it's just, programming is just typing on it. For me, programming is problem solving and typing on a keyboard. It doesn't really matter too much about the syntax. I like C++. I think it's interesting and quirky, and the kind of problems it is suited to solving, I also enjoy solving, but I try not to get too hung up on language jingoism. So I'm always interested in trying out new things and learn new things. I am not a TypeScript or React expert, but I do a bit. It's all right. It solves useful problems. Okay, right. Interesting. How is renaming that broken? Were those always broken, or kind of regret running those tests because now I feel compelled to go and fix them. TLV tests. And what test was it? It was range. I remember writing range loop was one of the first we wrote. So I'm very surprised that what's the C test command for? Is it verbose? Here we go. That is true. Okay. So I've got 2, 2, 3. Oh, bodge file into resource. Yeah, that's definitely an old test. That we definitely don't want that. We'll just ignore that. A couple of people asked about looking at the released Command & Conquer code. I have no plans to look at it. I'm sure there's other people who've already looked at it. Maybe. I'm already a good chunk of the way through the next video, so it's not on my immediate priority. So maybe in the future. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's one of those things where I feel like if you're not one of the first to do it, I don't know how much more value I can add. But yeah, we'll have a look. But it's good, like, if you're interested in, like, learning about code, it's always interesting in reading other people's code, so I do encourage yourselves to go and have a look at it. Right. Nope. Right, let's see if we can have a look at why this test is failing. Is it filter equals whichever one is failing, TLV reader dot range. I think it's like substring. Nope. Okay, fine. I don't need fine. I was going to find it. Here we go. Surprised this is not coloured, but maybe that's ctest. I suppose I could just run the gtest command. Unknown exception thrown in test body. Exciting. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So we've got the type, unless I change, so because these are hard-coded types, right? So unless I change I know exactly why this is. I added extra ones here, like use 32 array. So I bet some of these numbers don't add up anymore. So I wanted a uint32, which is type 0, and a string, which is now type 2. So this type length value type, that's on the wrong line. No? Oh, hang on. Oh no, wait a minute. Little endingness. Right, so that should be a 2. Well, that'll work, he says confidently. There's no so I have some thoughts for the game, and I had some thoughts whilst away. I'm just trying to get to the point where we can just have something sort of useful looking, and then we'll think about game mechanics. Nailed it. Alright, so let's have a look. I'm probably going to want all the source and all the tests and all of that, but probably no answer. So that's what did I call when I was doing this before? Move, so commit move TLV to separate. Duh. Okay, get that locked in. Okay, so where are we now? And you got to do that like 4 more times. Okay, let's do events first. Events, and then this is going to be a little bit messy because they're not. So let's do move source start event starter source events. Okay. And then source, what else we miss? Is that all of them? I think it's all of them. Okay, fine. So now copy source graphics to events, envim cmake source, and then vs source events. Oh, steady. Okay, and then ft events. Just I prefer sort those. Right, okay, and then I think a lot of these in header files. I just can't remember. Or do we just only have? We should have key event. There you go. I'm about to say, I could have sworn we were missing a keyboard event, or a key event as I called it. Do we not have a stop event? I thought we had a stop event. Unless that is header, it might be header only because there's probably no implementation for a stop event. It's just using it as a type as part of in a variant. Another C++ words. Okay, so let's blend that. And build it. Okay, so I got event and mouse button event.h. So sg event.h q sudo dollar event.h becomes events. Nope, becomes events event.h g. Ooh. Interesting. Hit it anyway. It did not like that. Let's try it again. Sudo. Oh, what have I done here? Oh, hang on. Missing the actual start of the command. Right, there we go. And then I think the other one was mouse event.h. So you do s dollar mouse event.h. We'll see what horror I've wrought upon the codebase after mistyping these commands so many times. Mouse event.h $g. What did I not like about that? Pattern not found mouse event.h, but it's literally there. And to be honest, these are oh, they've all gone. Oh no, what have I done? Oh no. Oh no. I built that. I think I agree. I think I have mangled the includes. Yes, I've now got mouse button events event.h. I think I put them the wrong way around. No, I tell you what I've done is I did the substring first. I did event.h where mouse button event ends in mouse button event.h. So there's that. So yes, that is entirely what I've done. Okay, we can fix this. Mouse button events. I might just fix these manually. There you go. I just do dot. Nope. C T events mouse button event. SG mouse button events dot. Okay, fine. Be a dick about it. See if I care. Mouse button event and then CT. All right. Just disable Copilot. Don't need that. Okay, let's try again. Let's try again. Yeah, I've made a right pig's ear of this. Hello. How's it going? Right. Oh yeah, I've really, I'm almost tempted just to revert this and start again, but here we are. What? Lesson learnt, don't do the substring first. Awkward. Right, okay, fine. Oh no, they're all munted. We might have to revert. Give this one another go. I don't really want to do. Just want to revert. How bad is it? It's not too bad actually. I think I might just have to just do these manually. Bear with me. Hold on one moment, caller. Events. Oh no, wait a minute, I don't need the prefix on these, do I? Because I'm actually in that directory. So this should just be stop event.h. I think, is that right? Oh man, I'm really struggling to remember how to C++ today. I'm bringing that term back. Okay, there's a question. I will get to it in 1 second while I figure out what I'm doing in my life. I'm a little bit concerned my autocomplete stopped working. Like, I must have really made this angry. Yeah, maybe. Do I want to run? Not that I don't trust any of you, of course, but do I want to run a random said command that someone's just put in the chat? It's hard to say. It looks okay, but I've already dug myself a big enough hole. I might have to dig myself out of it. You want to start making a game in C++, but you don't know where to start. So I guess that's a great question. I want to make a game in C++. You haven't touched C++ in 15 years. Where do you recommend to start? What do you want to? What are your kind of requirements or restrictions? Because if you want to make an engine with C++, then you could look at Unreal. If you want to do it from like a 2D game, then I would suggest something like SFML, which is like it's a simple fast media library. It will give you windowing, it will give you input, it will give you all the stuff that I'm struggling with, like personally now in the stream. SFML solves audio. I think from what I remember, it's a reasonably good C++ project. Like, it's reasonably idiomatic. There's obviously also SDL2. I think there's SDL3, which has experimental support for Vulkan. You can use both of these to also drop down to OpenGL if you need to. Yeah, so like those are great places. I think there's also Raylib, simple and easy to use library to enjoy video game programming. This is C, but then it's good practice of how to like abstract and wrap a library. Can you write C++ or C++ wrapper around it? And then there's also if you want to just do OpenGL, then I would very much recommend what I've been following or have followed in the past, which is learnopengl.com, which will take you through how to do like basic lighting, model loading. It'll take you how to handle multiple lights. It'll do like how do I do like depth testing, geometry shaders, advanced lighting. How do you do HDR? How do you do bloom? How do you do SSAO? It's a pretty good resource. It's kind of targeted at OpenGL 3.6, so there are newer versions of OpenGL, but it's a great place to get started. I have messed with Vulkan. I did not enjoy it. Well, that's a lie. I enjoyed it for probably the first day where I was writing lots of code and felt like I was making a lot of progress, and then like a week passed and I'd not rendered a triangle yet. Harand is your, I would say, is the resident Vulkan expert around here. You should definitely harass him about it. Harand about it. Anyway, I'm going to try and get back my code. I'm going to try and get my code building. And then okay, now I'm making progress. Now I'm recording a macro. Now I'm making progress. I think I've said this a lot. I think Vulkan is no. What am I trying to say? Like the design philosophy behind like DX12 and Metal and Vulkan is to give you like full control over the graphics hardware rather than relying on driver magic to optimize your code for you and make certain assumptions. I just think unless you really understand graphics programming, my personal opinion is that it like you might end up being less performant than the equivalent OpenGL or DirectX 11 code you would have written, and that would have been much easier to write. I'm not a graphics expert. I don't think I could write highly tuned Vulkan code that makes the maximum use of the GPU. Also, I don't have like the pipeline and the assets to really make the most of it. So I still think OpenGL is great and perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Why do two GPUs work in games that use OpenGL? I don't understand the question, I'm afraid. How are we doing for errors? Oh, we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end. Yes, I should probably. The reason I've not touched the ZI warnings yet is because that was part of a long journey of getting the stack trace to print correctly, and I'm pretty sure I fixed it by mounting the WSL as the Z drive. However, because of the pain I went through, I'm very skeptical to touch that and potentially break it. I should probably just try it and see if it fixes it. It's not causing me too much jip at the moment, so I don't really mind. Well, that build wasn't really paying attention. Nailed it. Pew 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 pew. Oh, I've got to do sound at some point. I haven't even thought about sound yet. Okay, right. Let's just commit this horror up. I'll have all of those. Commit, move, events to separate. I think we're kind of nearly there for the amount I'm going to do. I'll probably just leave some in the root directory that I don't know where to put for the moment. But I'm keen to write some code today. think that might kind of be good enough for now. Otherwise, the rest of it otherwise, I'll just dump the rest of it in like core or utils. And what does that get me over just storing it in the root? Because these four areas, especially these two, are probably where most of the code's going to go. I will move the buffer stuff over there, because at least keep it consistent. I can't see anything else that needs to go in there for the moment. I think that's all right. The thing is, a log and error just header only files, so like I would just have a directory for log which just contained log, and a directory for error that just contained error. I suppose error could have exception as well in there. I don't know. I kind of want to get on some code, so I know I kind of said yes. Let's just go and finish this now. I think that's kind of good enough. Why not compile? Yes, source graphics. Buffer was already. Had I duplicate what? Where was what? Oh, they were apparently already there. They just needed deleting. Okay, fine. Well, that was a nice surprise. Let's just see, check that still blends. Yeah, I mean, I spent an hour talking and shuffling for. Oh. Neither. Neither. I think I just got. Is it in debug lines? Here you go. I will show you what we have so far. We have this, where obviously we can move the lights around. I don't know if you can see there, we are moving the lights around a bit, and then we can float around, and then we can fire out some more barrels. Obviously the collision shape doesn't perfectly fit the model, but it's kind of good enough for now. So we've got a sky. So I guess a quick summary of what we've got so far. We've got window handling, obviously, OpenGL function resolution, event handling, keyboard and mouse. We've got a basic camera and scene setup. We have model loading, we have rendering, we have texture loading, we have normal mapping, we have HDR and gamma correction, we have physics. Am I missing anything? I think that's kind of it. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. What I want now is, so at the moment I'm kind of like a free floating entity, and we just sort of sit on this massive square, massive thin cube, which we can push stuff off the edge. It is actually dropping, it's just the perspective is very strange. What I want to be able to do is walk around on this and then move and then interact with the barrel. So we need a character controller. So let me just get this up and I'll start reading some documentation, which is the other exciting thing I'm sure people are interested in watching me do. What is... Oh? Don't understand how this works. Add... Let's just amend that commit. Okay, right. So let's do Jolt character control. What does the Oracle have to say about Jolt? Tell me about character controllers in Jolt. Physics performance seems fine so far. This is a debug build. It's not optimized. It seems like I think we went up to like 1,000 entities and it started to chug a little bit. But this has that's a good point actually. How many entities are we rendering? I can't remember how many. We're rendering 100 barrels, as in simulating and rendering 100 barrels, and it's absolutely fine. Jolt Physics is a high-performance physics engine known for its efficient collision detection and rigid body dynamics. Well, there we go. The key features of Jolt character controllers? No, I don't care about like the swept collision detection. I want to know. Come on. Character controllers. Here we go. Right. This looks like one. The character controller and character virtual classes can be used to control a character controller. Thanks. These are usually used to represent the player as a simple capsule or toolbox and perform collision detection whilst the character navigates through the world. The character class is the simplest controller and essentially a rigid body that's been configured to only allow translation and no rotation, so it stays upright. So you have either infinite inertia or dampening or whatever it is, so that your capsule doesn't fall over. It is simulated together with other rigid bodies so it properly reacts to them. Because it is simulated, it is usually not the best solution for a player, as the player usually requires a lot of behaviour that is non-physical. Yeah, so the way you want to move in a game isn't actually is not at all how physics works, and you don't want it to be how physics works. If you're running and stop, that's suddenly a lot of inertia. That's a lot of like counter force you have to suddenly apply to yourself. So actually, games being largely smoke and mirrors anyway, that kind of extends to the physics as well. This character controller is cheap, so it is recommended for simple AI characters. Oh, I remember reading this. After every physics update call, you must call post-simulation to update the ground contacts. Characters are usually driven in a kinematic way, i.e. by calling set linear velocity or select linear velocity before the update. The character virtual class is much more advanced. Here we go. This is what we want. It is implemented using collision detection functionality only through narrow phrase query and is simulated when character virtual update is called. So the idea is you actually just move it in 3D space and then resolve the collisions. Because a physics engine is it's just simulating physics, right? You apply forces to things and then you detect the collisions and then you resolve them. And when you kind of stick within that world, things aren't too complicated. Two forces hit each other, you resolve them, you apply opposite forces, blah blah blah. And you're literally like moving things around, like effectively instantly teleporting them around. The physics simulation doesn't really quite understand that, so you have to move yourself and then update the resolution, the collisions manually, or hopefully this character virtual class does a bunch of that for us. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. So here's the thing, right? We're using MSVC, so we have pretty good support for modules. We're also either are using or free to use the latest CMake, which gives us good module support, allows us to import std, that kind of thing. I've never used modules in Anger. It's one of the areas of C++ that I'm kind of lacking in knowledge. That being said, I would like to be better. I'm only trying to write code that gets us closer to a game, so I'm trying not to think too much in the future and try and write code that I think might be useful, even though it's not, living in the moment for the code as it were. That being said, I am tempted to sort of treat myself to a gratuitous stream or two and try and convert the code to modules just to learn how it works and be prepared to maybe throw it away if it doesn't. I want to make a bit more progress first, but I'm also aware that the more progress I make, the more conversion I have to do. So it's in the back of my mind that I would maybe like to use this project to try out modules. Maybe we just pick a couple of streams and go, let's just see if we can convert it to modules together and see what happens and see what we like. The advantage, I would say, of having a large personal project like this is it gives me the freedom to try out new ideas. So when C++26 drops and I get more features for that, I can integrate them in here and have a play around. And it's kind of better than just coming up with contrived examples. You could find probably Hello World module somewhere online and write it up in Godbolt and go, okay, cool, now what? But I want to know how it feels to actually use it in anger in a large project. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on modules, is I want to give them a go, and this might be a good opportunity to do it. I don't know, maybe, like, you know, you guys show up and watch me. Would that be interesting to try and watch me stumble through modules and maybe get angry and throw it all in the bin? I don't know. You have to let me know. Are you using per material shader instances, or is it only one shader that program you pass around to other classes? So at the moment, let's just pause reading the documentation because I'm happy to go through these questions. That is not what I wanted to do, but it's fine. I can fix it. We have a shader class which we load from file, vertex and fragment shaders. At the moment, there is only one shader for the main models, and we have a separate shader for the skybox, and we have a separate shader for the post-processing effects. But there's nothing to say that there's an entity which takes a pointer to a material. So this, when we create our 100 barrels, we just slap the same material in there, but there's nothing to stop us having multiple materials. So hopefully that kind of answers that question. Like, the game supports that, I've just not used it yet. I don't know what game I'm making yet. So this is a great question. I would love to make an FPS. I kind of really want to. That's not this stream series. That's probably the next one. I want to make a small self-contained game first. I'm not a game developer. Get some kind of experience in that. Figure out some of the known. Make some of those unknown unknowns known unknowns or known knowns. And then I think the next stream series after this, for however long, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I think the next one will be, I really want to make an FPS. But I just think there's just too much to do at this point, too much to figure out. We'll probably never finish it. So yeah, I'm thinking, I have two ideas. Okay, one is a sort of physics-y based puzzle game where we could create a framework where we can make puzzles, and then over a couple of live streams maybe make 10 or 20 puzzles, bundle that up, call it a game, put it on itch.io, and then move on with our lives. The other one is I've had some sort of flash of inspiration for more of a, not a horror game because I don't really like horror games, but more of like a short story driven kind of game involving like a few like 2 or 3 like core mechanics where you have to, not a survival game where you have to gather resources, but like maybe the game's spent over like 3 or 4 days and you have to try and get to the end of the 4th day. So again, short and self-contained. I think that's a bit more work, but it might be fun. So I'm probably going to stick to my guns and do the puzzle game, or at least start off doing that. We can always pivot. Let's just see if that's fun first, and then we go from there. It's the idea you had last is always the most interesting one, and the one that you've already started doing is somehow boring now. So I'm kind of keen to stick with it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of my view on that. But I want it to be simple and doable on live. When I stream twice a week for a couple of hours each time, I don't have the time to do massive long streams. It would be nice, but I just don't have the time. So it's got to be something I can kind of chip away at 4, 5, 6 hours a week at. Yeah, I've got a bunch of open source projects. I open source some of the stuff I do. I don't others. It's kind of arbitrary which ones I do. It's whether I feel like the code is worth sharing, I guess. I will open source part of this at some point. I've just not decided when or what, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. I want to make it get a little bit further along first, and then maybe think about tidying it up and releasing some of it. Okay. Oh yeah. About an hour in. Nice. Doing well. Oh yes, right. Reading documentation. Since the character is not added to the world, it is not visible to rigid bodies. It only interacts with them during the character virtual update function by applying impulses. Yeah, so the other rigid bodies that are being simulated for physics are not aware of us. We just sort of instantly teleport and clip in, and then I'm hoping this update, if I don't have to implement it myself, does the collision detection and so I think it'll basically like, oh, you're clipping into this object. I should work out the sort of direction of penetration between the two and apply an impulse along that. I'm hoping, because I've done this in Bullet before, and I'm pretty sure I had to do the manual collision detection because Bullet's built-in character controller is really janky. If I remember correctly, I think you have to do it in like 2 or 3 phases. You have to you have to cast a ray down to see if you've like walked off something, drop yourself to the floor, and then check for collisions, and then apply impulses, and then do another round to see if that's, and then iteratively doing that to see if that's resolved more collisions. I've got some code for it somewhere. Here. This does mean that there can be some update order artifacts, like the character slightly hovering above an elevator going down, because the character moves at a different time than the other rigid bodies. Separating it has the benefit that the updates can happen at the appropriate moment in the game code. Multiple character virtuals can update concurrently, so it is not an issue if the game code is parallelized. There you go. Character virtual has the following extra functionality: sliding along walls. So there's a massive problem in when you just make a standard character controller around like wall sliding and like picking up momentum across it or getting stuck on it. So that apparently this handles that. What's that really good? There's a really good article. Here you go. I'm gonna put this. Can I send this? This is a really interesting read about doing character controllers. I remember reading this when I was doing one in Bullet. About like, this guy's really funny as well. It's a really interesting read, but you know, you sort of stick the camera in the face, but then you look down, you can see your nose. So then he has to like mash the nose into the face, and then he tries, you know, different shapes, and then he gets stuck on the walls. So you have to then do some cross product math magic to make sure you don't get stuck on them. And it's got like coyote time, coyote jumping, a bunch of other stuff. And he's got a whole bunch of Poor Man X articles. Really interesting, well worth a read. So I'm not planning on having elevators moving platforms, but it's good to know that the engine's got me covered. Enhanced steep slope detection. So yeah, that's the other thing as well. Is like you want to make sure you can't run up too steep. I literally just want to walk across a flat plane. I don't really care about any of this, but I'm just it's interesting to know what we get. Sticking to the ground when walking down that slope. Because again, if you're on a slope, you don't want to be sort of rolling down it. Support for specifying a local coordinate system that allows walking around in a flying spaceship that is equipped with inertia dampers. And they even have a character spaceship test. It's exciting. Okay. Yeah, it's very oddly specific. If you if you want to walk around a spaceship that is equipped with inertial dampers, we've got you covered. Okay. I just want to walk around on a flat plane. Do you have that covered? Yeah, so Jolt's been used in Horizon Zero Dawn, which is why I picked it, because it's being updated, it's reasonably modern, it's battle tested. I have experience with Bullet, like I've said, but it's nice to try something different. I've used Bullet for quite a few projects, and I'm not an expert in it, but it's nice to try something different. I have no thoughts about how things are being encoded yet. At the moment, I'm just hard coding everything. Can't walk around on the plane, that's too advanced. Yeah, I need the Win32 character virtual X. So here we go. There's like over 100 people here watching me read documentation, so thank you for not getting bored and tuning off. We'll get to some code in a minute, I'm sure. Character virtual should provide I don't like the suggestion that it might not. Character virtual should provide everything that character provides. Sure hope it does. Since it is not a rigid body, it requires some extra considerations. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Collision callbacks are passed through the character contact listener instead of the contact listener class. Sure, okay. Character virtual versus sensor contacts are also passed through this listener, so you will not receive them through the regular contact listener. I wasn't receiving them anyway. Character virtual versus character virtual collisions can be handled through that. I don't care because we're only going to have one. Collision checks easy cast ray do not collide with the character virtual. Use e.g. narrow phase collector followed by the. So this is interesting. This is important because and I'm not saying we will, but in future projects, if we had like projectiles or weapons, and we needed to see if something intersected with, no, actually, this might be useful for us because I have one mechanic idea I have is if you are visible by another entity, and you could potentially do that with a bunch of raycasts, and it's good to know that they will not come through the regular, a lot of words today, through the regular narrow phase query cast ray. You have to use a special one. Interesting. You can create a hybrid between these two by setting the inner body shape. This will create an inner rigid body that follows the movement of the character virtual. The inner rigid body will be detected by sensors and regular collision tests. To get started, look at the character and character virtual examples. That's what I want. I will get started by looking at that. Let's have a look at the code together, shall we? It's exciting. Should, yeah, it's a lot of... Yeah, I mean, modifying games to use multi-GPUs if they're not expected yet, like, the whole rendering code will not be set up for that. I think you're gonna have I think it's gonna be a tough challenge. Okay, let's embiggen this a bit. Okay. Where's some code that I care about? So, how many lines is this? Okay, so assuming this is self-contained, you can probably create a character virtual. This is just a test, but a virtual character in 400 lines of code. I'm not convinced. What is this character virtual test class? Oh my goodness. So they initialize a player. So this has a new character virtual settings. It sets a bunch of attributes around the max slope angle. That makes sense. The max strength ? The shape. So I need to find out what this M standing shape is because that's presumably what I'm going to want to copy. The back face mode. The character padding. The penetration recovery speed. There's a lot of, this is very configurable and I'm not really sure what a lot of these things do, so I'll have to figure out this as we go along. What's the M support? Do I want the enhanced internal edge removal? No one's ever asked me that before. This has the inner body shape based on this. I'm going to probably need another layer in my weird layer system that I've set up. That's only for the inner body. I'm probably not going to bother with that because it sounds optional and I don't want anything I don't need. So, right, we'll create a new character virtual with the settings, position, ? Orientation, ? Definitely 0. And then the physics system. And then we do set character. So we don't want that. We don't want that. Instant contact listener for all characters. So where does this pre-physics setup update? Is this... I feel like I don't want this. Oh no, it does say samples. Okay, no, that is there. Okay, fine. Maybe I do want this. I don't think it is I don't think it's a test, as in like a unit test. I think it is testing the engine. Where's character spaceship? Character virtual test header. Let's have a look. Simple test that tests the character virtual class. Allows the user to move around with the arrow keys and jump with the J button. Can I... Have... Can I build this and have a play around with it? Can I get an idea of what I'm expecting? Oh, someone became a member. Emery, thank you very much. That is not why. There you go. Right. J for jump. The standard FPS control, very close to the WASD keys, so very easy to press. Okay, CD Jolt Physics. CD Jolt Physics. Not build. I think it's just. It's not just CMake. How do I build this? Right, how do I build it? Just tell me how to build it. Compiling. Go to the build section. I just tell me the commands. Oh, it's a bunch of bat files. That's exciting. Okay, CL bat or do. Okay, it's literally. It is just CMake. Where's the root CMake file? It's in here. Okay, so let's go CD build. Let's do make the build. Sure, why not? And then do CMake CMake. Just run that. Yeah, it doesn't look great at the moment. Right, CMake -- build. I feel like it'd be easy if I can kind of see the outcome of the code, if that makes sense. But I guess we could keep reading this. Anyway, so this in. I feel like these are, whilst they're virtual, I feel like they've got this character-based test. No, see, like, so here's my query, right? So you've got this like pre-physics setup. Who is calling that? Who's calling on contact added? Like, I'm providing this as virtual methods, but do these somehow get into the character virtual class? Because I'm not implementing that, or are these all part of character control contact listener? Do you see what I mean? Like, it's not entirely obvious to me what's going on. We might just have to write it and figure it out. So what does this pre-physics update do? Draw character. Maybe I don't need this. We probably should just try. Doesn't like some pre-compiled headers. I'm not going to spend too long building this because I don't actually care. I thought it might be nice just to kind of see what's going on. Okay, I thought that might just work. I probably need to build it without. I've definitely built this before because I remember when I first downloaded it. Before I decided to do it off stream, I downloaded it to have a little play around with it. So, okay, fine. Let's just. Hello, computer. A bit concerning. What's going on? Okay, well, okay, whatever, don't care. Waste time. we'll do it live. So let's do source physics character controller.h. Okay. Try once. Namespace game. It's all coming back to me now. Dash include. Nope, that's not. It's absolutely not coming back to me now. Character controller. Okay. Let's go back to their sample. So they had a an M character. So let's see if we can get ourselves an M character. What's one of those that when it's at home? I want an M character. This is a hang on. Don't I have to something always include Jolt. Jolt.h and then put a new line in so Clang format doesn't get angry with it. Jolt physics character virtual, and then I want a what's their namespace? It's like JPH. Yeah, JPH. Shouldn't character extend a base class controller? I don't know. That's the bit I'm not sure of. Their example isn't clear. They're just looking through the hierarchy in their example. It seems to just extend their testing framework. I don't think you need to provide. I mean, it'll tell me pretty quick if I've not implemented it. JPH ref JPH character virtual character. I can't remember if I need. Do I need the refs, or is that what does their ref do? Automatic referencing equivalent to a pointer type T. I think that's probably fine. Source physics character controller. Absolutely going to want a constructor of some sort. Physics character controller. Namespace game. Character controller. Character. One of those. Bit of this, bit of that, bit of the other. Grab our physics CMake file and then let's see if that blends. Some curio of my build system, it sometimes gets stuck there. I don't know why. Probably need to I do definitely need to update the MSVC wine. I think it's a little bit out of date now. But hey ho, here we are. Ship it. Must be good to go. Okay. I think. Don't I need to add a key to this so only physics system can create it? How's that all work when it's at home? Hash include key, and then I'm really struggling to remember this now. I think physics system, and then don't I have like key physics system? Does that sound about right? I probably should check with the rigid body. I imagine that's pass key. And oh, actually, was that forward declared? It was. Okay. So that was the old ASCII. So this just prevents anyone but the physics system constructing it, which is what we want. ASCII. Physics system. Okay. Okay. So does that blend? Straight to itch.io, straight to the top, straight to Steam. Pay my $100 and put it on Steam. Okay, this should be a little bit happy. So now I've got to figure out how I create this character controller. So this looks like so it looks like a raw new, but I believe the ref is this is reference counting. So this is safe, quote unquote safe, and you just sort of set the bits that you want. I don't know if I have to set all of them. If I set any of them. I'm definitely going to want a shape, or is it a capsule by default? So many questions. I just want this, right? And then we'll just there you go. I'm going to want this, whatever the standing shape is. I'm definitely going to want a standing shape. That sounds like a thing. That sounds like a thing that I want. And then JPH, JPH, JPH. Okay. So I've got the settings. And then I'm going to want, here we go. Right, so what's the M shape? What is that when it's at home? That is a const ref. So let's see if we can find whatever this M standing shape is. Here we go. No. Where's what? I suppose it's a member, isn't it? So it should Oh, it's going to be, I bet it's in the base class. Character virtual, character test? No, base test. So there's, all right, okay, so there's the M standing shape. So character base test. A rotated translated shape settings. Of course. Obviously. What else would it be? Oh, here we go. Create a capsule shape for all the stances. What? So there must be a static shape type somewhere. I'm pretty sure I want a capsule. But what I'm wondering in my mind is, because we have a bunch of shapes already, right? We have our own shape class. Do I need to create a capsule shape and then just wang that into here? But that's a shape settings, whereas this is a shape. Can I get a shape out of a shape settings? Oh my goodness. I was not prepared for this. Oh, just an easy stream, just to ease myself back into it. Right. What is this? What is this? Is that a Jolt thing, right? Oh, here you go. Okay, fine. Found it. Class that constructs a rotated translated shape. Do you think we just copy it and just like hope for the best? Like, I think we'll just have one of those, right? Is it nude? No. My goodness, that is a lot of arguments. So where's this rotated, translated, whatever this horror is, where's this live? Rotated, translated shape. Hash include Jolt geometry. No. Physics. Body. I can't remember. I suppose I could actually just look in one of my own shape classes. What have I got? What did we do? We did cylinder. So this is. Here you go. Physics collision shape. Oh, there you go. What was that? What was that? Rotated translated shape. Oh. I'll have me one of them. Okay. It is that time where cream eggs suddenly start appearing in the yeah, where they suddenly appear in the supermarkets. I've resisted the temptation so far. Okay, so here we have a capsule shape. Right, that's exciting. I sure will have one of me. I'll have one of those for me myself. And other English sentences. Okay, So now we've just got whatever these things are. I'm hoping they are reasonably easy to find. What? What? Okay. That is, what did you think I'm curious what the... Oh, here we go. I'm curious what the computer thought I actually did then. C character height standing. Is it not one of the ones that's here? Unbelievable. What? Where is it? Don't talk to me about mortgages. I just want to know what C character height standing is. Why is that so much to ask? I suppose I could just figure it out myself, but I feel like are these all the same? And then the radius. Oh. Static can't all the keywords. Standing height equals 1. If I'm really short, then I'll just increase it. Auto standing radius. How squat how stocky do I want to make myself compared to my height? Let's give myself an excellent 1:2 ratio. I've got no quats. That needs to be Jolt core, I think. And I know it's not namespaced correctly as well. Core. Oh, hang on. Steady. Stay on target. Extraneous one of those, okay. Where were we? Could even work. Could even work. I feel like I've gone a little bit off piste now. Here we go. Right. So I don't care about this. I have no idea what this is. I care about this. I have no idea what this is. 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 I don't want this and I don't want this. Sounds like we can just create our character. And then this adds it to the physics system. Did we have that in, was it rigid body, where you have to pass... You had to pass the body interface in. So for this, we'll probably have to pass in the actual physics system. Character C equals... Can I just type in for that? Something C++? Oh, do you need to do you really need a type? Fine. And then, right, character controller. I have no idea how you even move this, by the way. I've just realised that. I don't even know how you go about... I assume there's like a oh, wasn't there in the doc somewhere like a set translate or something? Something or none? Okay, what have we got in the physics system itself? All right, we excuse me, it's pimpled. Okay. All this shite. Right, what's our? So we have a JPER physics system, which is in Jolt physics. So let's go hash include Jolt physics system. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I enjoy making them. And then character controller. What is that expecting it? Thanks. Is that reference? I'm gonna assume reference until told otherwise. So I want JPH physics system. Physics system. I'm gonna assume it's not going to be const, because otherwise, how would it add itself to it? And then JPER physics system, physics system. Okay. And physics system. No matching constructor for... Right, I'm just going to get the compiler to tell me what's wrong here, I think. Yes, indeed. Right. That's what I wanted to see. Cannot convert argument 5. So once there's a pointer... Okay, fine. Sorry, I just saw that. I was looking here, like, cannot convert initialize list to this, which normally means that the arguments I put in the curly braces don't match a constructor. And it says here, no overload function could convert all the argument types. And then I noticed down here, cannot convert argument 5 from physics system to physics system star. So I've given it this and it wants this. So that's a relatively quick remedy. We change the ampersand for a star. And then we change the ampersand for a star. And then we roll the dice again with the compiler. I don't know any ranges today, that's true. Might be a day without ranges. That's a sad day for us all. Let's go and eat some cream eggs and console myself. Blends. Right, okay, right. So now. I do not program 24/7. It does feel like that because I also have a job, but I do try and take breaks to make and edit videos. Physics system. Okay, fine. So now, is there going to be a circular dependency here? I don't think so, because I think we forward declared physics system and then we only use it as a pointer. So I think we are okay. There's a bug on line 25. That's exciting. Don't leave me hanging. Line 25 of which file? Means perfectly, unless this was supposed to be standing radius. Yeah, okay. Okay, right. So now I need to stuff this character controller somewhere, and it's... If this was an engine, I would make it optional, but I think as it's a game that's going to have a character controller, we'll just make it so that it's always there. So actually, I don't... So do I want something like... something like that? And then I just return a reference to the character controller, because it's always... I'm going to create one at the beginning. It's always going to exist, right? I don't know. I just work here. Does it... Character controller... Okay, fine. Let's... Here's a fun one for you. When I construct the character control... Oh no, I need to pass in the physics system, that's fine. I was worried that I needed to pass in my physics system abstraction, which means passing that in from the constructor where I'm not fully constructed is unadvisable, but I can just make sure that I create this after I've initialized the physics system. But I don't have a default constructor. Okay, so what? So okay, let me tell you the what I'm currently debating in my mind. I need to construct a character controller, and I need to pass into it a pointer to a physics system. I will have a physics system here. It will be initialized. And again, I don't like two-phase construction, but here we are. It will be initialized here. But if I just try and create a character controller here, I will not be able to... It will try and construct it here, which you won't be able to do because I won't have a default constructor by design. And I don't want it to have a default constructor either, which means I'm probably going to have to... in order to do deferred construction, I'll either need to stick it in an optional, which I don't like because it will never be optional, and I feel that's kind of an abuse of optional, or I'll have to stick it in a unique pointer, which just means it's another memory allocation. Semantically, I think unique pointer makes more sense. I don't really like abusing optional for deferred construction. But maybe I'm just overthinking it. There's a fair amount of maths involved in this. I don't know, is there a limit to how many lambdas can be nested? I don't think that's specified in the standard, but there will be probably, like, there'll be a limit to what your compiler can physically hold in memory, which probably, massive amounts. So I'd say probably not. I'm not aware of a limit in the standard. Anyway, now that I've kind of waxed lyrical about my problems, unique pointer character controller. Yeah, I just... Optional is obviously cheaper because it will be it won't be dynamic allocated, it'll effectively stack allocated or within this single allocation. I can't... Optional means like it may or may not be there, but I know it will always be there. But I know you could argue the same about unique pointer because it has a null pointer, but to me, whereas unique pointer models single ownership. So that is modeling the single thing. I just have to wait a bit later to construct it. Optional, if I read optional code, that suggests to me that it may or may not exist. Whereas if I read unique pointer, I'm more inclined to think that that is a thing that exists because there's a unique pointer. Because why else would you have the unique pointer? I don't think it's going to be a hot code. I mean, until I profile it, I don't want to make assumptions based too much on that. I'd rather go for what I think is semantically clearer and then abuse it later for optimizations when needed. Yeah, so I'm going to stick with this because in my mind it's right. No, in my mind it is the least wrong. So now I can pass in the physics system, and then I can pass in a pass key of physics system. Nope, brackets in all the wrong places. Okay. Impel. It's the French implementation. All right. Okay. And now auto physics system character controller const physics, nope, character controller turn import character controller. That should be a reference, and let's check if it builds. Yeah, I think we've already spent more time discussing it than is absolutely worth spending on it. But I like to vocalize the thought process that I'm going through because my understanding is a lot of people show up to these streams because they're interested in like how I approach and solve these problems. So I kind of try to vocalize my thought process as much as possible rather than just be like, oh yeah, the code needs to be this, and then getting on with it. Stream till 24. No, I imagine we stream till 22. Or maybe a little bit later. I want to just see where we get to. So hang on. Is this like enough to visualize it? Maybe. It'd be added to the world. I can't interact with it, and the camera isn't in any way attached to it. But see what happens. Sure. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the origin? Get out of my way. Go, get out of the way. Get out of the way. I've kind of lost where I think the origin is. Probably in the center of this box, right? I don't see a capsule shape anywhere. Anyone? Unless it fell through the world. Right? Do I have to manually draw it with the debug drawer? The debug renderer. Really? Well, the capsule spawn point should be at... oh, interesting. I imagine it's this, right? Can I... Initial position for the character, initial rotation. So this will be at the origin. It'll be 0, 0, 0. Well, we're gonna need to get the position of it anyway. So let's add that as a thing that we can do. Hash include vector3, and then auto position const vector3. Okay. And then I think we do this in rigid body. Oh, that needs the body interface. How do I get the position of the... This gets the... Maybe there's just a... I probably should just look at what I get. So character, get position. Return. Is it Jolt utils I have? I can't remember now. Hash include physics Jolt utils, and then isn't there like a to native? And now we should be able to go to main, and then on each, so we'll, after the physics update, what we'll do is we'll do log debug character controller ps dot character controller dot position. Could even work. That is just running the game again. I have not built it. Do I have a favorite comedian or actor? Oh, that's a great question. I've not really thought about it. I don't. Probably, but you've put me on the spot now, and I can't. No one immediately jumps to mind, which means I don't know what that means. Oh, I am, because it's game log, isn't it? He is a comedian. I don't really watch, I must admit, I do not watch a lot of TV or films anymore. Since I started YouTube like nearly, oh Christ, like 2.5 to 3 years ago, it takes up all my time. I think I've said this before. I think last year I watched maybe like 4 or 5 films, and they were Christmas films for the kids. I just don't do anything else. So I don't really, like, there's loads of like big films I've just not watched. Who do I? So I'll mull on that in the background while I try and figure out why my capsule controller isn't working. No, well, it's definitely the origin. So it's definitely So this does suggest it's not rendered. So how does, so many questions. Physics system. How does one debug render? So the debug renderer, I get the lines from it. And that's all is that all I do? Interesting, here we go. I have to draw the bodies. So does that mean I now have to draw the... So that has draw bodies, but this here, if the debug renderer, get the shape, draw it with the debug renderer in green. Why is it a different like interface? Why does this not have like draw, unless it does? So yeah, it doesn't have draw characters. How strange. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of the. I grew up with like the original three. I'd like. I know. Well, I grew up. Well, sorry, I didn't say grow up. Like my dad watched introduced me to the original three when I was pretty young, and then I grew up with the prequels, so they have a special place in my heart. I've not watched like a lot of the recent stuff though, which I want to try and find time to kind of work my way through all of the a lot of the Star Wars stuff because I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of. I like Christoph Waltz, and I like a lot of Tarantino stuff. Pulp Fiction is probably one of my favorite films. Empire Strikes Back, Scott Pilgrim, great film. Whiplash, another great film. So yeah, I guess any of the actors in there I'm fans of. Oh, Inglourious, yeah. I think it was one of the few films I've seen more than once at the cinema when it came out. If that makes sense. Like I actually just went back and watched it several times. Inglourious is a great film. Is there any coding? No, I should have. Well, it's quite late, so I don't want to stay up too late. So I just have water. What am I coding right now? I'm trying to code right now. I'm trying to code a character controller for a physics simulation in a game. More broadly. I'm trying to make a game. Okay, so this isn't going to work for me. So I think I need to do impl character controller. So character controller. I'm gonna have to leak a little bit of implementation detail here, which is a little bit annoying, but what are you gonna do? So this should be a JPH. What's the base shape type? Do I even? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around code. The shape settings, but I really don't want that. It really is. What does get shape? What? I'm just gonna cheat for a second and make it a template, so I don't have to worry about the type. Right. No, yeah. Please hang around, because when I get back to graphics programming and I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm kind of hoping you'll be able to help and correct me a little bit. I'm not a physics coder, so that's why we're all suffering together. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on in this code, but do ask questions. Like, I'm happy to kind of go through it all. I want to release some of it at some point so people can look through it in their own time. This is just a shape star. Okay, fine. Don't know why that shape's so angry. Okay, fine. Just what I did there was I made it a template, so it would deduce the return type, and then I used the tooling to find out what the return type was, and then set it. What is it not liking about use of Hey? What? What are you chatting about? Okay. I feel like this is going to be grumpy about this, and I'm not entirely sure why, but that is a problem for the compiler, and then for me. So where's me debug? Right. Okay. So character controller dot shape dot draw, and then I pass into here. I'm assuming a pointer to import debug renderer. Oh god, look at this. What is this? Like, whoop, steady. Right. Right. I was gonna say, what is? Oh god. I absolutely 100% do not want to expose this as part of my API. Do I want to get it as a transform? Could I? So here's my thinking, right? This code here is presumably what I need to do to render it, and I need to get the internal shape out, right? I need to then stuff in the renderer to it, and its transform. I don't know why the thing that I'm calling draw on has to be told where it is, when presumably it should know. I assume it's because it's going by the shape and not by the object. I don't know why mCharacter can't have a draw method on it, and it know this, but here we are. So I need to pull out of the object its transformation matrix. I then need to stuff back into it that and the renderer. Vector 1, sure, and then a color. I assume those are correct. So my thoughts are largely I either expose all these two bits, this bit here and this bit here, as member functions of the character controller abstraction, and then pull those out and stuff them back in, or I just create. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Oh, no. I think I have a less worse idea. Jolt render debug render. Right. What about this? What about this? JPH debug renderer. right? Because by using the pass key, we can not that anyone should have this anyway, right? Like that is almost part of that is kind of restricting itself. But by doing this, we can basically say this method can only be called by the physics system. I'm not hugely a fan of it because I feel like a public function should be usable by anyone. But I think in this instance, because it's a debug function, this gives us the safety we want to be like, look, not a lot I can do about it. You know, this will get This won't even be in the release build because no one will call it, and it should get stripped out as dead code elimination because we won't be doing debug drawing in the release build. So, well, you see, the thing is, before LWG can standardize a 3D physics system, they first have to standardize. I'm hoping they'll first standardize how many bits are in a byte, because that is a legitimate paper that's in for C++26, because the language is 50 years old and we still can't agree on how many bits are in a byte. But maybe one day, solving the real problems now, guys. This is what C++ is all about. We all need to argue about how many bits in a byte. At the moment, it is at least 8. Could be more. I thought a lot of the C++ ranges were already constexpr, but I could be wrong. What I'm looking forward to is constexpr maths, CMath, so I can then make my vector and quaternion and matrix class fully constexpr, because the ones that use like sign and stuff like that, those methods aren't constexpr. Anyway, I'm prattling on a bit now. Let's do whatever this horror is. I'm going to keep going till this at least builds and we can kind of figure out whether this works or not. I think moving it around and interacting with it might be for Sunday. Quite late. Well, it's getting quite late and I want a beer. Okay, so now we can do const auto transform equals character get center of mass transform. Center spelt wrong, but what are you going to do about it? And then do character get shape. Oh my goodness. Draw debug renderer transform Jupiter vec3 swan Jupiter color screen, and then false and true for good measure. What do you mean it's got no? I just need to what? But the doc say it exists. Am I going mad? Unless it's in another header, that would be terrifying. Okay, S1 does not exist in there. Lots of questions. So why not make physics systems a friend class if it only should use those functions? It's because I wanted to be a little bit more restrictive than just giving sort of carte blanche access to the whole class. By doing this, I can be a bit more restrictive in what the physics system has access to. It's just friends with extra steps. What's your take on explicitly sized types versus int long? Always use explicitly sized as the fixed width integer types. I mean, if you've got a for loop and you only need to iterate 10 things, then sure, use an int. But I use auto anyway. But I've been bitten by fixed width integer types because long is different size on Windows and Linux. And the first C++ project I ever worked on, I had to port a large Windows code base to Linux, and that bit us. And someone's also mentioned it as well. Woostering is 2 bytes on Windows and 4 bytes on Linux. So serializing those on one and then deserializing it on the other caused the whole thing to explode. Yeah, I would say always use the fit, especially if it's anywhere near serialization code, you definitely use them. But I would say just get into the habit of using them anyway. I use them pretty much everywhere where I have to type the type. Woostering, I don't think will be moved in 26. It exists to make programming on C++ on Windows easier if you're using the wide string variants of the native functions. I'm pretty sure that's why it exists, is for that. So I can't see that going anywhere. I think the namespace is right. Shouldn't I catch it if I can't get the shape? Where are you talking about? I don't think Jolt uses exceptions. I could be wrong. Yeah. Well, the advice. I think the standard advice is, or at least the advice I would give, is that use std string everywhere. It can store UTF-8. It's not UTF-8 aware, but it will store UTF-8 characters, if that makes sense. And then you basically use that everywhere until you have to go into the Windows API, into the wide variant, and then you use, multi-char to wide char, or wide char to multi-char, convert it to the type you want, and then immediately convert it back out. There's also what's it called? I don't know if they deprecated it. Where's do they have string conversions now in the standard? I know that they removed woostring convert. And they did have, I don't know if did they remove it? You're better off using the Win32 native API for it anyway. But there's also Mubusterwooks and Woostums as well. My favourites. It's a good day when you have to use Musterwoops. Where is S1? Like, what am I doing wrong? Can I just? I don't even know. Is it just the equivalent of that? Is it just like a unit vector? I've done a lot of Windows programming before, so I've seen a lot of the weird corners of it and had to work with a lot of the weird bits of it. Yeah. I mean, legacy code will use it, so it is there. People have used it, but I would say most people don't. And again, I would just stick with std string. What is going on? What is all this? Doesn't. Jesus. All right. Absolutely does not like whatever I've done here. I've got S or and S0. What's S0 when it's at home? So I'm going to assume S1 is 1111. I just don't know why I don't have it. Can I? Any of these look like a definition to anyone? Sorry, declaration. No. Definition. Oh, one of the two. Oh, here you go. We've got vec4. Does it just like not exist anymore? S R G vec3 S1. Unit scale. Right, it's got to be. It's just a waste of my time. I did not know that. That is interesting. A good fact. So the LLVM optimizer sees code that looks like a memcopy and replace it with a call to memcopy. I guess it's an optimization. I imagine memcopy is probably about as fast as you're going to write it. But obviously, if you don't want the CRT, then you're kind of, it's a bit annoying if it does do it. Son is forever gone. Yes. Right. Okay. Let's see if that blend. Oh, I've got to call it, haven't I? Code doesn't just magically call itself. Idiot. Well, it does sometimes magically call itself if you invoke undefined behavior, but that's not the point. Right, so now I should be able to do dot character controller dot draw debug renderer that is not a function. That is a pointer. Right, get there in a minute. I don't even know drawing character controller. Oh, debug draw. It's right. You know, it's not wrong. Okay. Nope, don't run. Look at that. A Wii character controller. It's pretty small. And it definitely does not interact with the physics, but it sure is there. I think we could probably make him a little bit bigger, or her. Make it a little bit bigger. I reckon. What do you reckon? 5 and 2.5. I have been looking at a project at the moment which involves writing something without a CRT. So I do feel your pain a little bit. Not quite as much as maybe you have, but I am experimenting with some non-CRT code at the moment. Look at that. He is at least as tall as a barrel. Yeah, I must admit, it has been fun. It's now getting a little tedious, but because I'm doing it on Windows, so it's sort of like heap alloc and heap free everything, and the Win32 API gives you actually quite a lot of stuff, which is quite nice. My sign implementation is 3 lines because it's 4 expansions of McLaurin series. Then I just got on with it. Didn't bother wrapping anything around. Didn't bother doing implementations. I was like, just gonna get the number. And I think my square root is like 10 iterations of the Babylonian method. Not yet. I will open source. I'm hoping to open source some of it at some point. At the moment, it's not, just because it's not in a state I really want to. It needs a little bit more work. I think once it's kind of a little bit. Once we got the character controller working, I think that might be a good point to open source it. Let's leave that there. FSyn, x87 FSyn is slow though. It's only there for backwards compatibility. No one uses it. You know, you can just for sign of x, you can just return x and just hope the value's small enough that it works. It works for like half of all values. You can just return x because it's a linear line. So hope for the best. Okay, cool. We're deep in the sign law, the sign law now. One of my old videos, like before I put my face on cam and before I had a decent mic and before I knew what I was doing, was on implementing sign different ways, including FSyn, because I thought x87 is interesting because it also has FSyn cos, so you can do both at the same time in a single instruction, but it's still like dog shit slow. I think I have the code for that. Is that actually? This is an old video. I have a calculating sign repo. So standard using FSyn, using McLaurin's with one expansion, just return the number. It works for like 50% of them, and then different ones. Again, this is not. I just relied on the compiler to optimize all these out, and then I did the Chebyshev version as well. And then doing both at the same time, and then trying to do both at the same time in FSyn cos, and then some pretty rubbish benchmarking. I got this before println. Yeah, let me. If it is useful, I don't know who this is useful for, but I will. Put it there anyway. But if you want the ASM code for it, it's there, and it sure did work 3 years ago. Right, I'm gonna. Oh, hang on. Where's me? Does the compiler optimize all the calls to an inline function the same? I mean, it's largely up to the compiler what it chooses to inline. You can use compiler intrinsics to force inline. I largely assume I cannot outsmart the compiler, so I try not to give it too many hints on what I think it should do. I'd rather it just kind of gave it a go itself. There's a few interesting stuff on the repo, on those repos. So have a look around. Hang on, wait before everyone disappears off. I think I have my monthly YouTube gift. Roll the dice. Congratulations on 5 people who have random memberships for the month. There's some behind the scenes stuff. There's early access to videos. I'm really hoping to I try and get out a video a month, and I'm making good headway on this month's one, but I have been off for 2 weeks. That's why I did what was the last one? Was it the Bugs Life video? I went really hard to get that out before I went on holiday, and I had 2 weeks off, and now I'm back. But the next video is, again, something slightly different, but it's good fun at the moment. I'm not ready to defenestrate it yet, so hopefully I'll get to the point where I can release it for everyone. That's what I've got. Thanks very much for coming along and listening to me try and remember how to C++. It's been good fun. I'm kind of pleased with where we got to, actually. Got a little bit further than I thought we would. Maybe I just wasn't that confident in doing all this after not having done it for a few weeks. That being said, Sunday, we'll go hard on getting the character controller working, get it hooked up to the camera, get us figuring out the collisions, get us moving around, and then I think we should try and load in like a better level, and then something in game mechanics. I don't think we're that far off. I'm ignoring sound for the moment and everything else. But yeah, thanks very much for coming on and keeping me company. Much appreciated. And I will catch, hopefully, you all on Sunday. And I can't remember which button I press on my Steam Deck to end it. I think it's